All right, now lean in for a moment. Let this sink into your spirit, not just your ears, but deep into the places that ache and yearn to be free. Friend, welcome. Truly, I'm so glad you're here. If no one's told you lately, thank you for choosing to keep walking forward, even when the road felt cruel and crooked. You didn't have to show up, but you did. And that means something. Now hear this, there's something holy about the moment you finally say, enough. Something sacred in the instant your soul rises up and says, I'm done dancing in their darkness. I'm stepping into the light. And if that's where you are right now, if you've reached that breaking point where you break free, then let me say it with all the fire and gentleness I've got in me, not the congratulations, not the kind of congratulations that comes with balloons or applause. No, this one is deeper. It's raw. It's real, because you've done something most never dare to do. You've reclaimed your name. You've stared down the storm and said, I don't belong in this prison anymore. I won't carry their shame. I won't water their weeds. I'm walking out. And you didn't just whisper it. You meant it. You've decided to stop rehearsing the pain. You've stopped feeding the hope that maybe, just maybe, they'll change. But you've released the but what ifs, and the maybe someday, and the just one more chance. You've let go. You've stopped trying to survive and started learning how to live again. You're not just breathing. You're rising. And listen, you're not alone. Not even close. Across this wide, wild earth are souls just like you. Wounded, weary, but waking up. They've walked through the same fire. They've known the same manipulations, the same dizzying cycle of charm and cruelty. They are your unseen brothers and sisters, and whether you feel them or not, they're out there, cheering you on. Let me tell you this, when you're the one who chooses to reject the narcissist, something spiritual happens. The balance shifts, the hold breaks. There's power. Not in revenge, not in rage, but in that quiet, immovable no more. No more wondering what they think. No more atching to be heard. No more bargaining with your worth. You don't need their permission to be whole. You don't need their validation to be real. And oh, what a beautiful thing it is to finally realize you don't owe them anything. And even if you have to speak to them now and then, maybe because of shared responsibilities or unfinished business, you've learned the holy art of silence. You know when to speak and when to let the silence speak louder. You know how to draw the line in bold, not pencil. You know how to be clear without being cruel. And that, Don, my friend, is a kind of wisdom the world desperately needs. So I say it again. Congratulations. Because you've cut the cord. You've walked away from the illusion. You've stopped giving free rent in your mind to someone who never paid in respect. You've evicted them from your spirit. And you did it with grace. That's power. Some of you, I know, were devastated when they rejected you. But can I tell you something that might change your life? That rejection was a rescue. It wasn't a curse. It was a call from heaven, pulling you out of what was never meant to hold you. That rejection, though it burned, was actually a blessing in disguise. The narcissist thought they were discarding you. But what they didn't know is that God was using that moment to unchain you, to separate your destiny from their dysfunction. Now you're healing, maybe slowly, maybe with scars, but you're healing, and with each day you're getting stronger, clearer, freer. You're not just cutting ties, you're building a future. You're learning how to walk with dignity, how to rest in your own peace, how to fight without picking up the sword of bitterness. And I want you to know something else. When you chose to reject them, you didn't just change the narrative. You took back the pen. Now you're the one writing the story. And don't be surprised when the narcissist throws one final tantrum, trying to rattle your peace. When they sense they've truly lost control, they may throw out threats, slam the door, or post petty things online. That's not strength. That's panic. That's the sound of their ego crumbling. But you stay rooted. You stay calm. You stay free. Because you already know, you're not going back to Egypt. You've crossed the Red Sea. The past is over. The cycles are broken. And the sun is rising on your new chapter, so keep walking, soul on fire. You've come too far to turn around now. Now listen, this is where everything begins to change. Not when they walk away. Not when they vanish or go silent. No. The shift happens when you reject them. Fully. Completely. Not just with your lips, but with your spirit. You reject their energy, their shadow, their ghost that lingers in memories and dreams. You reject the illusion of who they pretended to be. You say with conviction, I'm done carrying the residue of their chaos. And you mean it. You don't wrestle with the memories anymore. You rise above them. You bring those thoughts captive, not by your own strength, but by turning to your source. Maybe for you it's prayer, maybe it's meditation, maybe it's simply still and listening to something higher than all the noise. Whatever it is, you use it. You engage it. Because you're not just cutting ties on paper, you're severing the spiritual tether that once held you hostage. And friend, that's not small. That's divine. As you reject the narcissist from the depths of your soul, they start to feel it. Oh yes, they feel the silence. They sense the peace radiating from your life like a lighthouse in the storm they tried to keep you in. And while you're stepping into sunlight, they're unraveling, spinning further into their own confusion, their own emptiness. Because they can't stand to see you untouched. They can't bear that you're not crumbling anymore. They don't understand this kind of peace because they've never built it. They only know how to destroy it. So they scramble, they lash out, they spiral, and still you rise. Because every day now you're waking up lighter. The air tastes different. The world seems a little brighter. Not because the pain never existed, but because it no longer owns you. You've stopped wondering where they are or who they're with. It just doesn't matter. You're living your own story now. See, this is what thriving really looks like. You used to just get by. Now you're breaking through. And here's what makes it even more powerful. You used to open the door. You used to say, come help you. I'll carry your hurt. I'll be your anchor. You poured out grace like water. You gave and gave, and what did they do? They drained you dry, took your softness and called it weakness, took your love and fed their ego. But now, you're walking away. Not bitter, just done. No more proving your worth. No more hoping they'll finally see you. You don't need their eyes to validate your light. You've got your own now. And there's no hate in your heart. No vengeance. You don't wish them harm. But you also don't care anymore. And that, my friend, is where your power lives. In the sacred space of not being moved. When the door shuts, it doesn't echo. It just closes. Peaceful. Permanently. So if they rage, if they threaten, if they try to shake you with words or fear or manipulation, you answer in your spirit. I reject it all. None of this belongs to me anymore. And if those old thoughts try to sneak in, if the memories come wrapped in false nostalgia or twisted hope, you'll be ready. You'll say, no, I reject this lie. It was never love. It was a lesson, and I've learned it. But even the parts that looked sweet, even the moments that felt warm, you can let them go. Because now you know anything real wouldn't have left you starving while calling it a feast. You're not rejecting out of spite. You're rejecting out of clarity. Because you finally see the full picture. And you don't want to live in it anymore. You are rejecting them. The whole weight of their presence, the manipulation, the drama, the chaos, the fantasy, all of it, and in its place, you're accepting wisdom. You're accepting growth. You're embracing the truth that sometimes the best closure is saying, I don't need anything else. I'm already free. You've buried the past. You've sealed the chapter. You're no longer searching for a better ending. It's finished. And thank God it is. The dynamic has changed because you've changed. You're not asking anymore. You're declaring. And the narcissist, they sense it deeply. And if they had wisdom, they'd bow out and leave you in peace. But wisdom isn't their way. No, when narcissists feel the shift, they often dig in deeper. They stir the pot. They go for blood. But what does it matter? Let them rage. You've already won. Wake up tomorrow and speak life into your future. Write it. Say, believe it. I am protected. I am unshaken. I am walking into a life that reflects who I really am. And every time the darkness tries to whisper again, whisper back with something louder. I reject this. I am free. Let's talk about something that will unshackle your soul if you let it. When you finally let go, really release them, not just in body, but in spirit, life gets lighter. It's not just a shift you feel in your chest, it's like something sacred lifts off your soul. You start breathing deeper, but the air feels different. You start noticing things again. The way sunlight dances on leaves, the rhythm of your own heartbeat. That weight you carried, it's gone. And in its place, freedom. You start to soar, not stumble. You embrace the life you were meant to live. You no longer bend your spine to accommodate chaos. You align with peace, or you step into what you deserve. And let me tell you, when you are the one who initiates that rejection, when you say, this ends with me, everything changes. There's power in that decision, power in your no more, strength in your silence. And I want you to thrive, not just survive. I want you to know the power of marking someone as done, not with hatred, but with finality. You cross them out in your spirit, not because you're cruel, but because you love yourself now. Because you finally know what's sacred. And what's sacred is you. Learn to say no, like it's holy. No guilt. No explanation. You've been through enough storms to recognize when the clouds are toxic. You've earned the right to protect your peace like a warrior guards their last candle in the dark. You've learned. You'll grow now. So speak it out loud. I reject this. I decree peace over my life. And here's the paradox. The twist that makes you stronger than you ever imagined. Find a way. Yes, even now. To thank them. Thank them for the silence, for the cold shoulder, for the times they couldn't say, I love you. Thank them. Because those moments taught you something school never could. And they trained you in self-worth. They forced you to stop chasing crumbs and start demanding a feast. Now they sit in silence. Now they feel the emptiness. And guess what? They don't get to hear your voice anymore. Not because you're being petty, but because access is earned. And they don't hold the key anymore. No more back doors. No more late night calls. No more touching your life like it's still theirs. That chapter is closed. That supply line has dried up. Now, let's talk about what happens when the narcissist faces rejection. Let's get real. People ask me, will they come back? If I reject them, will they return? And I want to unpack this with all the clarity you deserve. See, narcissists aren't just difficult people. We're talking about individuals who carry a disorder, a deep wound masked by pride and manipulation. This isn't just someone who's rude or selfish. This is someone whose very way of being is broken in ways that don't mend easily. And when you understand that, you stop hoping they'll heal through your love. That's not your burden to bear. These individuals, these narcissists, they don't cope like others do. They lack tools for emotional survival, so they steal yours. They latch on to people with light because they have none of their own. They surround themselves with strength because they can't generate it. They borrow joy, leech identity, fake affection. But when you reject them, really reject them, something shifts. It's like throwing holy water on a lie. The narcissist has no script for that. One of the first things they'll do, rage. Unfiltered, raw, unsettling rage. Why? Because their ego can't compute what just happened. They're used to doing the discarding. They decide when the book closes. But when you close it, it's like tearing the mask off a ghost. They'll flail. They'll lash out. They'll say things that cut, things designed to wound. And still, you don't flinch. That's what breaks them. If you hold firm, if you don't go back, don't explain, or don't soften, they'll often just vanish. Not because they respect your boundaries, but because your silence tells them the game is over. There's no access, no weakness to exploit, no tears to manipulate. You see, they don't return to love you. They return to test you, to see if there's anything left to gain. But when they realize the control is gone, when they know you're not just playing hard to get, but truly gone, that's their kryptonite. That's the moment they fade. And not because they've changed, but because you have. Let that sink in. You didn't just survive the narcissist. You dismantled their illusion. And that, my friend, is one of the bravest things a soul can do. All right? Listen closely now. We've talked about what it means to rise, to reclaim, to say, I reject this, with power in your voice and peace in your soul. But sometimes, when you do that, when you turn away from the narcissist and shut the door they never imagined you'd close, their response isn't fire or fury. Sometimes it's silence. But don't mistake that silence for healing. It's not peace. They're not meditating under a tree somewhere, finding their truth. No, that's silence. It's punishment. A calculated pause meant to sting. It's their way of saying, how dare you stand your ground? See, you didn't just reject an idea, you rejected their ego, their very identity, and they can't handle that. So they vanish into the shadows, not because they're done with you, but because you dared to be done with them. They disappear not to respect your space, but to punish your defiance. That silence is their silent scream. Feel my absence, or miss me. Suffer. But you won't, because you're rooted now. And sometimes it goes even deeper. Sometimes they don't just go quiet, they go missing. Gone. No messages, no backdoor attempts. No flying monkeys knocking on your emotional windows. Nothing. And let me tell you why that matters. It means you hit something real. You struck the fragile, shivering core of a soul that's been hiding behind a mask for far too long. They're not regrouping. They're unraveling. They don't know how to come back from the kind of rejection that doesn't come with begging or bargaining. They're used to doors cracking back open. But not this time, because you said, no more. But here's the truth that cuts through all the fog. Narcissists don't process rejection like you or me. They don't take the pain and grow from it. They take the pain and project it. They pass it on to the next victim, the next heart that hasn't learned the warning signs yet. They don't face it. They flee from it, hide behind anger, silence, or vanish altogether. See, when you reject them, something happens deep within them, and a wave of shame rushes in, and that's their greatest fear. Shame is the monster under their bed. It's the mirror they can't look into. That's why they lash out. That's why they ghost. That's why they run, because shame is their kryptonite. Some will rage, throw words like daggers, accuse, threaten, beg, all in one breath. Others will ghost you, vanish to remind you of what they think you lost. And some will fall silent for good, nursing their fractured ego in private. But listen to me, every one of those responses proves your power. Because you shook the lie. You disrupted the pattern. And you made the abuser taste the silence they used to weaponize against you. And when you stand firm, when you don't flinch, don't respond, don't need to respond, you take your power back one heartbeat at a time. You've broken the illusion that kept you small. Now, hear me well. This doesn't mean they're gone forever. A narcissist doesn't always stay gone. If they believe there's even a flicker of your attention left, they might try again. But if you've slammed that door, boarded it shut, and walked into the light of truth, they'll feel it. They'll know. You've disconnected. And now, they don't get access to your mind, to your emotions, to your joy. And then here's the most dangerous thing for them. They know they can't teach you a lesson anymore. Because you've already graduated. You've already learned, and you're done playing student in a classroom full of lies. So if you're asking, will they come back? Let me flip that on its head. Does it matter? Because if you're truly walking in truth, if you're truly anchored in your identity and no longer chasing what hurt you, then no matter what they do, your answer remains the same: I reject this. You don't need to manage them. You don't need to outthink them. You're not responsible for their healing or their hurt. You're responsible for your freedom. And now you have it. So keep your peace guarded. Keep your heart whole. And when their silence comes, when the rage comes, when the vanishing act begins, smile gently to yourself and walk on.